Would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, Brandon Carroll, Locking Out, a high school teacher. I've been here like 5 years, but 6 school years. So I've been here, and this is the only place I've ever taught besides my student teaching. And I love the students, I love the community members, I like the administration, I like our school board, I like our superintendent, I like my fellow teachers, I like pretty much everything about the district.
Would you explain what LCTA is and its goals?
So LCTA stands for the Locking Out Teachers Association. There's 210 teachers as part of the association, and they're spread across 3 elementary schools and then 7 through 12, 7, 8 high school here. And we're the collective bargaining union. They call them the locals. We're a union that has the common interest of making sure the students are taken care of, making sure we have a great, safe environment for the students to learn in, and also making sure that we as a group are adequately compensated and have an important part of making sure our students have the best access to anything that they need to improve their learning environments.
What is your role in LCTA?
So I've been a member of the union. They basically, I don't use the word forced, but you're basically forced as a teacher to join the union. In my first couple of years, as we call probationary teachers, where you could be let go for any reason. After 2 to 3 years, you become tenured, and then you're probably more free to speak out in the union, just kind of make sure things are right for our membership, as well as the students, community, and all the other important parties. My specific role, this is the first year I've ever done anything, in all honesty. I'm called a representative, so if there's an issue, like a teacher has an issue with the contract, or like an administrator, they come talk to us. It's private, and we try to help make sure everything's right and fair. I've also part of what's called the organizing team, and that's where I think I've been a little more vocal, I guess, this year, is basically the idea of organization. Teachers are never going on strike here. That's never a thing. We're not going on strike. We're not trying to do anything to upset the apple cart, as the saying is. We're just trying to make sure our membership is taken care of, and everything we're doing is in the best interest of the students, and that's where we started wearing the T-shirts. So on February 4th, last Thursday, every teacher, we had out of the 208 or 209 teachers, there's a couple teachers out in the elementary schools and high school, but we had about 95% of the teachers just wear the shirt, blue shirt, just to show we're united together, and that's basically what we've done so far in terms of organizing.
Well, you seem a lot more vocal this year. I haven't seen this kind of reaction towards the collective bargaining agreement with the district so far. So what specifically this round are you looking for?
So the way the contract negotiation works, every 3 years, typically there's a contract, and each year there's things called openers, where we have 5 negotiating members on the union side, and the district office has 5 of their own members. And it's simply to find a way to meet the needs of everybody. And there's a lot of needs that need to be met. We want to make sure the students are taken care of. We've got to make sure parents, community members are happy. We've got to make sure that we have safe facilities, and make sure that we retain the best teachers and hire the best teachers possible. What changed this year for me personally, and I can share this and then we can talk about, I guess, the broader goals of the union. I had my baby, well, my wife had the baby, I guess I helped, but my wife had the baby in July, baby girl Kennedy. Last year in May, there's a teacher by the name of Mark Afram, Mr. Afram, who's an English teacher, and I sat next to him at graduation, and he left last year to go to South Pasadena. And I remember thinking, why in the world do you ever want to leave this school? The school's great, everything's perfect, what's wrong? And he's like, well, you're getting severely underpaid. I'm like, well, teacher's a solid middle-class job. I don't expect to be rich any day, but it's not bad, poor pay. And he's like, you should check it out. So myself and many other teachers started looking at public information. They're called salary schedules. And I could go to South Pass right now and make like $6,000 to $8,000 more a year. San Marino is $3,000 or $4,000 more a year. And there's other schools as well, but we really want to focus on communities like Locking Out and not compare, Locking Out to like LA or something, because those are very different districts. So this year, the information's been publicized more. We put out handouts, the unions put out handouts, and just information that teachers don't really know. And we do the math. I've done the math. A lot of other teachers have done the math. And on my part, if I went to San Marino over the next 15 years, I'd make about $60,000 more dollars. At South Pass over the next 15 years, I'd make somewhere around $60,000 to $80,000 more dollars, depending on a number of variables. Then I look over 30 years, and I plan on being a teacher regardless if it's here or somewhere else for my career. I like teaching, that's what I have a passion for. And then I start looking at South Pass over the next 30 years, which would be the length of my career. I'm 30 now, I'd be 60 in 30 years, and it's over $200,000 more I'd make at South Pass. over $200,000, $180,000 more, I'd make it San Marino. And I started saying, hey, I want to put my kid through college. I want to make sure I take care of my family. My wife's staying home. She's not working anymore. These are all things that kind of come into play when I start saying, hey, this is important to me. I love the school, but I got to put my family first.
What other players are involved in this collective bargaining?
So the way it works, I've not been involved in this really till this year, and I'm not on the negotiating team, but we have one person from each of the school sites. On the union side, we have the 5 individuals from the district, and we do what's called interest-based bargaining. If you ever watch a movie where they do like negotiations, you slip somebody a piece of paper and you say, these are my demands, and the people take it back and they say, no, these are my demands. Here we really are about community, and we have really collegial relationships with everybody. So we do what's called interest-based bargaining, which is where the school district and the teacher union, we come together and find areas of common interest. And there's a bunch of education terms, LCAP and LCEF. Local Control Accountability Plan, that's LCAP, and I don't remember the other one. I'm going to mispronounce it, so it doesn't matter. But basically, there's one big pot of money, and this one big pot of money has to go to students and technology, has to go to teacher salary, has to go to maintaining facilities, thank you, has to go to making sure that the Common Core and all the instruction standards are up to date. So there's a lot of different things involved, and this is how it is every year. It's just this year it's just different because of some of the things that are going on both sides.
What was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back in starting this movement?
So I'll speak from my perspective and from people I've talked about. From my perspective, in December, I made a pros and cons list of pros, why would I work here, cons, and then the pros and cons, I'm a list guy, pros and cons to leaving. For teachers like myself, and there's 19 other teachers besides me that I've now asked Mr. Cardinal, Mr. McFeet, and Dr. Gold, who used to be high school administrator, for letters of rec. Mrs. Sinnette this year, who I like, she's a nice woman, she's a great leader, she's a friend of mine. I feel like I'd say she's a friend of mine over the years. She hired me here, so I have a long-standing like of her. In 2011, she got paid around $160,000. And this year, after the students were the #1 scoring high school, elementary across the country for the SBAC testing, the Common Core testing, she received another $20,000 bonus on top of her previous raise. From 2011 school year to 2016, she's got almost a 50% increase in salary. That right there, I'll be honest, like it's across the country, I think that the working stiff, the students, right, kind of get lessened in impact with the pay of the CEOs of companies. And Mrs. Sinnette is the CEO of her company, and she does great work. And I just started thinking, well, she's gotten 50% pay increase. I've been here 6 years. We've had, I think, 11% increase in those 6 years, but that actually goes back, I believe, to 2008, in which over almost 8 or 9 years now, the teachers have received, again, 11% increase, and we had a recession, we had budget cuts, we had all these things, and it's completely understandable. Many other people across the country are facing this, but it just seems, and it's one person versus 200 teachers having to give a raise to, but it just really felt to the teachers, I don't want to say it was a slap in the face, but many of us felt that it was just kind of unfair that every year the district says, we don't have enough money. If we raise the teacher salary, we're hurting the students. We don't have enough money, we're hurting the students. To have the superintendent not really walk the walk, I think, has upset a lot of people. And she hasn't, I'd say go get it, right? Don't give your money back, go for it, get as much as you can. But then at the same time, don't say we don't have money to help other groups out, which it's kind of a sad thing in my opinion that at the end of the day, the superintendent's important, but we have some of the best teachers across the country here at the school site. And there's many people like me that say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't stay here. Maybe I shouldn't have a lifetime career at La Cañada like we've had for many other teachers in the years past. So for me, that was the biggest straw. I think some people felt disrespected by that.
Would you call our school district financially wealthy? And why are some schools able to pay their teachers more?
So yes and no. So we have tremendous parents here who donate millions of dollars. That goes to technology, that goes to site improvements, that goes in a lot of great things. That doesn't go to teacher salary in any way, shape, or form. The school district itself has a small population of English language learners, special ed students, those that are considered socioeconomically disadvantaged, so they are on what is called the free and reduced lunch program. And across California, that's a much larger population. I think La Cañada has 7% of our students in that population. So the way they've changed the budget for the schools in the past couple of years with Jerry Brown has shifted money from basically everyone being equal. Some schools don't need as much money because the students don't take as much money to educate, get it caught up to speed. So in that way, the school gets less money. We get roughly the same amount of money, again, per student as South Pass, San Marino, Manhattan Beach, Palos Verdes, and whatever one I'm forgetting. There's a fifth one out there, I don't know, maybe Beverly Hills or something. But we get roughly the same amount of money as other districts, and yet in every one of those districts, every one of our 5 comparable districts, the superintendent makes less money than our superintendent, and the teachers get paid more than the teachers here. And I think that speaks volumes to the priorities of the school district.
Would you please explain what some teachers mean by asking for a letter of recommendation?
Sure. So there's a website called EdJoin. It's the go-to website to apply to schools. I'll tell you a story. When I, 5-6 years ago, I got my teaching credential, I actually applied to over 120 jobs across California. I had 20-some interviews. I had an interview here for a 7-8 job that I did not get. I came in second, I guess. But Mrs. Sinnette, who was 7-8 principal, I think, at the time, and then Mrs. Wynn, who was becoming the new 7-8 principal, they said, Brandon, you're great. We'll remember you. Would you be interested maybe in a job later? I'm like, heck yeah, I'll take anything. I then substitute taught for in where I lived, which is in Orange County, excuse me, in August, September, October. At the end of September, I get a call from Mrs. Sinnette, now assistant superintendent, said, hey, would you be interested in a 2/5 job, meaning I would teach 2 classes a day. Not a lot of money, you don't get health benefits, you don't get a lot of those things, but I'm like, heck yeah, I will. I moved back home with my mom in Fullerton. I commuted 60 miles each way every day, traffic. I stepped up, I subbed, I got involved in ASB, I went to all the dances, and I made a name for myself because that's the person I am, and I love it here and I wanted to stay here. Well, now that I've been teaching for 5-6 years, in order to apply to other jobs, you have to have what are called letters of recommendation, as kids all get when they want to apply to college, in order to apply to other jobs. So in order for me to apply, if there's a job opening at some of these schools, and I'm not going to leave the school for any school, South Pass offers me a job, I'm going to take it. San Marino offers me a job, I'm going to take it. But I need letters of rec to apply if there's jobs. And there isn't right now because most jobs don't pop up until March, April, May for teaching positions. So when 20 teachers here have asked for letters of recommendation, it doesn't mean they're all leaving, right? Because you have to find the right spot. No one's just going to leave this great community and this great campus and this great school for any school. But I for sure know there's teachers, one teacher in particular has already said she's leaving, hasn't publicly done anything yet, but it looks like this person is for sure leaving, and it's going to be people like this teacher and myself and teachers in the English department and teachers in performing arts departments and people in the foreign languages departments leaving the school. It's going to lessen, I think, a lot of the stuff that makes this school great. So by asking for letters doesn't mean anyone's leaving, it just means we're looking.
If it came between educating or making a few extra $1,000, what would you choose and why?
And this is what's really, it hits me, and I'm actually sad. I am honestly sad about this, but my wife not working anymore. She left us, she's left for 2 years. She's leaving this year. She's not going back to work next year. We've taken a 45% hit in income. So like, I have a house and I'm happy about it. I have a baby, love the wife, love the family. We don't do a lot of things extracurricularly, as you kids would call them. Our one kind of splurge is half-season tickets for the Kings, but I gave up going to any more concerts. It's like a big part of me. We're not going to concerts more. We don't go out to eat. We really just go like bare minimums, everything. And now I'm starting to think, wow, I'm going to have to pay 50 grand a year for my baby to go to college. We want another kid, all the expenses that come with that. So it sounds like a few more $1,000, especially in this community. I think, it's a couple grand here and there. Maybe it's not as big of a deal. But I know of teachers that are 40 years old at this campus that have student loans that they can't pay off. There's teachers, brand new teachers, that are unable to buy a house because they don't get paid enough to be able to do all these things that used to be normal. So a few more $1,000, I'm not leaving La Cañada to make an extra $1,000 or $2,000. Would I leave La Cañada to go make 50, 100, 200 grand over the rest of my career? Unfortunately, the answer has to be yes. And the real problem, this thing that really just hurts me and makes me sad, and the reason I'm being vocal about this is I want to know that the students are not why I want to leave. I love the students. If I can stay here, I will. But if it comes down to the fact that we won't know the whole negotiations bit probably until May or June. The jobs that I might want to apply will probably have been filled by then. So I got to look, and if I get that job offer, I'm not asking for letters just to ask for letters. I'm not interviewing just to interview. I'm not going to just do all this to make a political statement because that's not my personality, that's not who I am. I'm doing this because I'm actually looking for a job, and if it comes down to one of these schools, there's 5 schools I'm looking at, if they offer me an interview, I'll take the interview. If they offer me a job, I'll take the job, and it's as simple as that. So to me, yeah, it might just be a few $1,000s a year, but if over the course of my career, that helps it so my baby girl Kennedy can go to college without her having to go into debt, if it comes down to my wife being able to stay at home and not work, these are things that I have to take into consideration because I'm not the teacher that just sits at home during the summer. I work summer school every summer. I go to every school dance. I go to every event possible for the students because that's who I am as a person. So I don't want to leave this place. But unfortunately, that's just going to be what ends up happening, which at the end of the day sucks. It really does suck, but that's it.